Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 10th of August, 2021. Coming up this episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 147. Brace yourselves. Something is coming. Who knows? With election pottering, Olympic fiascos, and other social dilemmas, all that more coming up in the show. Please stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 147 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And I just want to say thank you, everyone who turned out to last Sunday's Fastball Sunday. We had an incredible guest by the name of New York Nadia, a very, very outspoken Cuban-American with lots of insight in today's politic and what's happening in North America as we see it. So once again, thank you, Miss New York Nadia, for the great contribution you gave to our platform. And you are a friend of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Anyway, carrying on. Listener discretion is advised. I tend to swear during these shows, so brace yourself. Don't say I didn't warn you. And like the title says, brace yourself. Something's coming. Now, this is just going to be more another rant, if any, ladies and gentlemen. I had a few notes together in regards to this broadcast. However, I'm just going to wing it off the top of my head the way it should be. Okay, nothing is rehearsed here in the show. I don't sit and rehearse over and over again in regards to what's happening with the politics as we see it. Excuse me. I just speak my mind as we should, and as you should too. Now, the past couple of weeks have been really interesting in the world of Canada and in politics in general. The Olympics have come and gone. Well done to our athletes who contributed and who kicked ass and took names, especially to the female soccer team for basically rubbing it in the face to the woke mantras of the United States women's soccer team. Now, I'm not saying all members of the female squad took a knee and did their part because little Miss Megan Purple-Haired said so. But I'm saying is that if you get a chance to represent your country in the Olympics, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter if you're Chinese, doesn't matter if you're English or British or German or French or Canadian or American or Mexican or Jamaican, you have an opportunity to be on the world stage, to promote your game, to promote your sport to the best of your ability. And I like to think, actually, the past 50 years, women have overcome a lot of odds in regards to world sport, right? All the major sports that sells tickets in all of our countries, i.e. soccer, basketball, hockey, women have contributed quite a bit to that. And what gets me is that a lot of these teams went to the Olympics with a woke mentality and got it right back in the ass, right? i.e. the United States women's soccer team and our Canadian rugby sevens, right? So if you're going to go to a national game, doesn't matter if it's hockey, basketball, soccer, parcheesi, cricket, hurling, it doesn't matter, right? You go there to represent your country and your game, and you play to the best of your ability. That's what it is, right? Because I grew up with a bunch of kids that had aspirations and dreams of playing for Team Canada in hockey and playing ball here and playing basketball there and football here. And the furthest thing from their mind was their political stanza or their statements. The furthest thing from their mind is who's the prime minister or who's the president. What they were concerned with was the fact they got a chance to play and they got a chance to represent their country or their area or their team or their family or their friends because of the love of the game, the love of the sport. Now, yes, people have said, well, most women won medals this time around compared to the men. Hey, that's great too. Does it bother me? No. Should it? No. Why should it? The better person gets the job, right? That's the thing. And it doesn't matter if they have won gold, silver, or bronze. Hats off to the athletes that went there with the notion to compete and play and represent this country proudly. So hats off those ladies and gentlemen who did such a great job. And hats off those individuals that try to get political. But I hope humility bites you in the fucking ass because we all saw it. And, well, time to own up. Anyway, carrying on. Brace yourself. Something's coming. Yes, a little bit of an evil picture I put in there too. right? To represent the evil that's lingering around the corners, ladies and gentlemen. Evil like the censorship, evil like the political coattailing and the political bullshit that we're seeing every day in this country now, too. Right? We're having politicians here that don't want an election, i.e., Aaron O'Toole. And True North did a great story on him about how he is more or less stepping back and saying, well, we have no time for an election because phase 4 is on its way. Okay. So here we have Mr. O'Toole, who has been dead against liberal mandates of spending and cutting back and cutting this and cutting that. And now he is in cahoots with this panic of a so-called notional fourth wave that might be hitting us sometime in the future. Now, what I don't understand is that why would anybody in their right mind want to anticipate any kind of wave of any kind of pandemic? Sure, based in the past year and a half, there have been closures, there have been businesses lost, there have been fines and tickets and court cases and crimes, and there's been suicides, and there's been people losing their livelihoods and people losing their minds. But yeah, we can't have an election right now. We can't bring in any kind of new stock for the sake of progress. We cannot elect people that want to govern this country properly and work for the Canadian citizen. No. We can't have that right now, just in case of a fourth wave. Okay. See, the more and more you talk, sir, Mr. O'Toole, the more and more I get disappointed with you. Because like I've said before on the podcast, my wife and I, we sat and we watched the Conservative Party election and hoping that somebody would come in and do something right in the name of the Conservative brand. Because where I live here in Alberta, it's traditionally conservative. Traditionally. Now, I'm not saying it's mandatorily conservative. It's traditionally conservative. Because the Conservatives in this area have always done somewhat of a decent job for the people here. But then when I sat and I listened to your video, and you talked about how, okay, you had COVID and you healed up, and we can't have election now because an impending fourth wave. Do you know that for sure, sir? Okay. Do you know that for sure? Or is that something that's going to be projected to instill more fear in people? So if that's the case, then you're on the bandwagon of creating more fear and more division, when we should be looking at letting people go about their business and do their thing. Okay. I'd like to remind you, and to all the officials out there, I don't care what your medical background is. I'm not judging your ability to administer medicine. I'm not judging your credibility in your medical field. Okay. But when you start getting political, start telling people how they have to live their lives and how they have to be conditioned, right? And how they have to walk and talk in the name of fear of this pandemic. Do you honestly think you're really helping us? Really? Do you honestly think you're giving us, a step up? Or you just want to see a step down and face the fucking fear?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And ladies and gentlemen, too, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can find me on Brighteon and Wimkin and on Rumble, too, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave a heading here at the bottom for you to follow. And please consider donating today. I am starting a new job in the next 10 hours. So gainful employment, which is nice, but I like to also make this podcast a full-time commitment too. And once again, thank you everyone who came out to Fastball Sunday that I had with El Sevilla Rossetti, Adam Danny Rosé, myself, and the lovely New York Nadia. Thank you again, Nadia, if you're watching. Thank you very much for your contribution. And keep fighting the good fight, sister. She is a veteran. She was in military intelligence. She's quite the writer, the performer, the entertainer, and quite the intellectual, too. So I highly suggest, ladies and gentlemen, you check out her channel on YouTube. She does some great TikTok videos and a minute and a half, 2-minute blurbs on society's dilemmas and stuff. So please check her out. She is quite the entertaining individual and just really, really intelligent, too. Fantastic. I really love the conversation we had on the Fastball Sunday. Anyway, carrying on again. Something's brewing, folks. Something's in the works. So whether it be a federal election or something devastating, I don't know. You've heard me predict before here on the podcast in regards to what I see on the horizon. And my best guess is this: something is going to happen, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I could say a good thing here in Alberta right now. A lot of restrictions have been lifted. Liberties have been guaranteed yet again, right? Some of our medical practitioners are using common sense, saying, okay, well, this is what's happening here. This is what's happening there. So we're going to just let these things be. Okay. However, I still find there's a lot of employers out there, a lot of companies out there still forcing the fucking mask mandate again in people's faces. Now, when I walk into a store and I'm dealing with an employee of said store or said establishment, whatever, I'm at a point now too where I'm starting to find it really, really impersonal. When you're talking to somebody, when they've got a mask in their face like this, and they're like, oh, yes, sir, we can do this for you. I just don't find that very, very, how do you say, welcoming or comfortable. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that every one of those, excuse me, every one of those employees is doing that intentionally. It's only because the company says so. Okay. All in the name of safety and protection, because now it's not a health risk. It's a safety risk. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. And I've heard that speech before, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to say here, though, too, is that we got to stop with the fear mandates. So to all the cooperative corporations out there, to all the other bigger stores who are allowed to stay open during the pandemic, who are allowed to thrive and flourish, while other mom and pop shops had to be shut down and ticketed and fined. Okay. Look at what you're promoting with these mandates again. Okay. Now, I've said before, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. That's on to you, the individual. If you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to wear a mask. Okay. But when you start enforcing more of these mandates, more of these procedures, more in the name of safety, okay, who exactly are you really protecting here too? Who and what are you protecting? You protecting your staff? Are you protecting the clients or the clientele or potential customers or customers to be or general customers? Or just for the sake of the image, because, you got nothing better to do. More fear. Okay. That's funny because I was driving to Lloydminster the other day with my wife, and I actually saw three people, okay, three vehicles pass by me, okay, with masks on. They had frickin' masks on their face inside the confines of their own vehicle, mind you. Okay. And I'm just like, really? It's like, okay. But, each their own. Like, my base is liberty based. Okay. I want people to do their own thing and feel good doing it. Okay. But the more people I see with masks on their face inside a vehicle, or even walking outside minding their business with nobody around to harass them or rub against them or breathe on them, you're starting to think how people have been conditioned. Okay. And we talked about this in the Fastball Sunday and control and conditioning and everything. And it's just coming to light here now too. So when I put this up here, my thumbnail tag there, brace yourselves, something is coming. Okay. What's on the horizon? If we have politicians that want to sit in fear, we have an opposition leader that wants to challenge the status quo, who wants to put Canadians back to work, who wants to put emphasis on liberties and freedoms, but then all of a sudden backsteps and says, well, we can't have election now because there's a phase 4 coming or a possible phase 4 coming. How do you know this, sir? Right? Is because Dr. Theresa Tam, the lady who looks like a man, is saying this, because Patty Haydu is saying the exact same thing in regards to giving Alberta shit for opening up, right? I like to remind my listeners out there too, Patty Haydu, the health minister, the federal health minister, has a background in graphic design. Okay. What the hell does she know about the health and welfare of Canadians? Is she going to draw us a picture and take us to fucking unicorn fairyland? And hopefully fairy farts and pixie dust will fuel us to victory, right? What the hell has she got to do with telling people how to live their lives?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you like and hear what you see, please check me out at Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin too. I tend to load my podcasts up on those platforms as well. So if you find things to be overwhelming on the YT side of things, you can check me out there and just check your screen in the bottom. Right. I do have an account on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin, and I'm also working on some Gab stuff and updating my Patreon, all that good stuff too. But in the meantime, you can reach me here, and you can also check for updates on the Crusty Canuck page on YouTube and on Facebook for updates as well. Anyway, carrying on again with more of the whole brace yourselves, something is coming. And I think it is. I think something is on the way. I think something is on the horizon that's not going to be very, very beneficial to the majority of Canucks out there. I think there's going to be a real shit show about to happen. And when I'm looking at the headlines, what's happening in the States, what's happening in Britain, what's happening in Europe, what's happening in here in our beloved Great White North, Canada, I'm skeptical. And a part of me is worried too. I do fear that something is in the works. And when we had this conversation on Sunday on the fastball, I talked about violence. I talked about how violence lingers, the results of said violence, the results of said combat, the results of explosions, the results of gunfire, and what happens. And it's not pretty, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I guess in recent events too, Artur Pawlowski, you've probably seen me interview him on when I had the Thursday fastball on there, talking about freedom and freedom to press and religion and freedom to worship. As far as I'm concerned, in this country, I don't care what faith you have. You have every right to worship your God or your belief in your own way, on your own time and whatever. Freedom of expression, freedom to worship. Doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Sikh, atheist, Scientologist. It doesn't faze me. And yet there's footage out there you can find online of Artur Pawlowski was going to speak in Portland, Oregon. And we've all seen how Portland likes to operate, especially the past year and a half, in regards to gathering and speaking your mind and freedom of this and little Antifa punks causing shit. Now, according to Artur Pawlowski, there were Molotovs, there were fire bombs, there were stones, there was debris thrown at women and children, at people in general, because somebody doesn't like what he has to say. Okay. If I don't like what someone has to say, I'll challenge him on it. I'm not going to throw bricks or stones at him. Now, it all depends what they're saying, though, too. If you get some guy on a hay wagon or in the back of some truck screaming about separating races and cultures and freedoms and putting people in cages because, then I believe there's room for debate when it comes to that. Now, I don't agree with Artur Pawlowski's religious stance. I don't. I made that clear to him. But I'm not condemning the man for speaking his mind. I'm not condemning the man for what he does for his community. And there's proof and there's footage out there, what he has done for the city of Calgary's homeless and for those less fortunate. So, ladies and gentlemen, this guy's a genuine article. He basically walks his truth. He believes in his gospel, believes in what he's doing, and so be it. And all the power to him. And I got a lot of respect for the man because of that too. Right? He doesn't like me smoking cigarettes. Okay, yeah, it's hurting me. But he said that with kindness and courtesy, and he's not throwing it down my face. Right? And when we had that little discussion, we had a great talk about freedom, and we had a great talk about his life, how he grew up, and how he's still seeing it today in Canada, of all places. Okay? And the Rebel did a great story there too, in regards to church burnings. And I'll leave a link for you, my listeners, to listen to and decide for yourselves, as always. Can't speak English today for some reason. But it's just getting, it's getting uber retarded, pardon my expression. Things are slowing down. Things aren't progressing. Things are going backwards, right? Now, whether this has been engineered and designed by the elites or the Laurentian elites or the powers that be, or, the so-called globalists, things are starting to turn, hopefully for the best. But I think they're starting to turn for the worst, maybe, because I think there's people and situations that are being intentionally sized up for the sake of creating more mandates, for the sake of creating more fear, okay? And for the sake of other noble causes that we don't know. That's my best guess, ladies and gentlemen. What say you? Okay? What say you out there in the world of podcasts, in the online world? The more I think about it, the more it's hard. It's getting harder every day for me to not anticipate violence. It is, honestly. I keep going through scenarios in my head. I keep going through what ifs, right? About preparedness and about being ready for something, whether it's a food shortage, whether it be a gas shortage, whether they cut the power, whether they make an excuse for something. Are they going to instill another pandemic fear-mongering campaign like they have the past year and a half about 1 minute we're wearing masks, next minute you don't have to, and then you have to wear masks and you have to spend more time washing your hands, then wear double masks, then use glory holes for your sexual endeavors. It makes you think. And now that the smoke is cleared a bit, there's a lot of more liberty here in Alberta. And maybe I'm thankful because I'm living in Alberta, right? And there's more environmental catastrophes to keep talking about because of all the wildfires that are going around California, in BC, parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Excuse me. And then all the experts are weighing in saying, oh, it's because of human beings and climate change. Humans are at fault for this, right? So what are you sizing up for? Another fourth wave to tell more humans to stay at home and die? Or a fourth wave to line someone's purse?
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyway, carrying on too with, brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not going to sit here and instill fear in you, my audience, my listeners. Like, I'm very, very grateful that I have an audience and listeners such as yourselves that give me the time to listen to my spiel and listen to what I have to say, right? From my time in the military, from the adventures I have had, whether it was a young private, senior private, brand new corporal, older corporal, master corporal, sergeant, and I went to the good rank of sergeant. You can see the rank up in here. That was my final rank when I left the service, ladies and gentlemen. And one of those things taught me was achieving professional competence. Right? If I did something, I owned it, and I did. Okay. And I was fortunate enough to have some great leaders and some great mentors back me up on those claims too. But like any other job, you're going to meet an abundance of people, whether it be far few in between or quite a few over here or quite a few over there. They're going to turn around and try to fuck you as best they can. Okay. And I learned from those experiences as well. Okay. When I look at the federal politic that's going on in Canada right now, and especially with my friends down in the States, there's a lot of people out there that are just going to fuck you. Okay. Not even give you a courtesy of give you a nice little reach around and maybe a slap and tickle or even a kiss on the forehead when they're done. And regardless of how people have said to me too, personally, I say, Crusty, do you really want to get into politics? Do you really want to be part of that game? Do you really want to be pulling your hair out? Well, firstly, I don't have any more hair. You can see that every time you watch the fastball because I take my hat off. And I've done a few episodes here without the hat on too. So I'm not worried about hair being lost. But I get their point though. Okay. And I've been in stressful situations before. And a lot of my brothers and sisters in the services have been in stressful situations and they're still going through stressful situations, regardless of the caliber of the fight or the mission or the job or the exercise. The military teaches you how to handle that very well. Okay. So when it comes to federal politics, I am more than willing to drop my gloves and stand there on the ice and do the old 1-2 in the name of this country. I'm not going to sit around on my hands and cry in my oatmeal and expect magical things to happen and fall in my lap. No, I don't do that sort of thing. Okay, I'm not waiting for any kind of notional Jesus to turn my water into wine because I, sir and madam, am capable enough to take the water and make my own bloody fucking wine. Okay. And I encourage others to do the same thing too. Now, I know I used a Christian reference out there, but it speaks volumes as far as I'm concerned. Like I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a Christian. I don't go to church. I don't worship. I have my own little faith I keep kind of private. No, well, not so private now because I just confessed to it. But I think I get my point, though. I'm not condemning anybody who wants to preach to Jesus Christ. I'm not condemning anybody who wants to preach to Muhammad or Moses or Judas or God in general or Buddha, or if you go to a Sikh temple. Okay. We're supposed to be living in a country we have the freedom to do that without persecution. Yet there's still churches being burnt in this country out of protest of what they found with the so-called mass graves. Right. And I watched something on CTV News about that today too. And this unification and then the great fighting spirit to find the truth. But let's find the truth still. Not only do we have to find truth and reconciliation via what happened with the residential schooling program, but we need to find truth and reconciliation for what's going on here right now and today. And not just for the sake of our First Nations, but for the sake of English Canadians, French Canadians, and all Canadians alike. When it comes to our parliamentary system, when it comes to the political parties and the people that represent said parties too. Okay? That's where we got to find the truth in all aspects, not just that one situation in our history, not just that one time in this decade or this situation here or prior to this war here, right here and now is what we have to do. Okay? Right here and fucking now. Pardon the F-bomb, but I think you get my point. Okay? Now, I'm not going to put up a polar vortex of bullshit award today, too. I was thinking about it, but I was actually going to award it to Andrea Howarth there, the opposition in Ontario's parliament there, the NDPer that said 1 minute that, oh, God, she was saying how mandatory vaccines would not be right. It would be unconstitutional. And then she turns around and turncoats because MP Charlie Angus of the federal NDPs more or less told her to pull her weight and shut the fuck up. And I'll leave a story on that from True North Media, the fine people at True North Media who put that together. More or less saying, oh, it's mandatory to have vaccines regardless of chartered rights or not, because we have to protect this and protect that. So I'll let you, my listeners and viewers out there, read it for yourselves and decide. I just personally get tired of all this buffoonery when we have to listen to these elected officials quack all this BS. And for what? Okay. Really. Their logic is this. Well, here, get these needles, get these vaccines, just in case you do get sick. But then you might still get sick and you might still get this. That's just like saying, well, here, wear a diaper because, there's maybe 1% of you that might shit your pants. So put the diaper on anyway, right? I think I talked about that before, but ladies and gentlemen, I think you get my point.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, and please, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe and share this all around your social media platforms. You can also find me on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin as well. As I said, I'm working on updating my Patreon page and some other social media pages too. But in the meantime, you can still find me on YouTube and Facebook and Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin. In the meantime, please subscribe to me there and click like, subscribe, and send comments as well there. Help the algorithm. Help us independent folk get out there too. And we're carrying on again with the whole brace yourself. Something is coming. That's something. I don't know what it is. What do you think it is, folks? Do you think this something is going to be beneficial? It's going to help us along? Will they have the balls to call a federal election? I hope they do. I really hope they do, because the time is now more than ever to get a new regime change. And I'm not saying bring in a new regime of one party or a new regime of the same old status quo. I'm saying let's get a regime in power that cares about the Canadian people. Okay? People that care about clean water for all. People that care about the economy for all. People that care about the whole so-called projected inequality and trying to keep it equal. Okay? Try to keep it equal. Okay? Because I personally, and I can attest for a lot of women that I have worked for in the Canadian Forces, worked with and worked for, and they've never pulled the whole gender card. They never pulled the whole woe is me stuff. They persevered and they kicked ass and they took names. And even when I see those individuals today, I say, hey, how the hell are you? Treat them like a buddy, treat them like a friend, because there was a time in my career where I felt pretty shitty. I was pretty low. Okay. And I've told you all, my audience out there, that I have an OSI and I suffered from PTSD. And there were times where I was not feeling too good. And there were a couple of female leaders that stepped up the plate and helped me along my way. So when someone tells me that there's all this inequality and all this unfairness towards females in this country, I say bullshit. Okay? I say bullshit in that. So we need people in Parliament that are not going to pull the whole fancy gender or race card, but start putting the reality card out and saying, we got to pay this debt off. We got to get to work. We got to get our resources to market. We got to get things done here. Okay? We really have to look at the climate policies and analyze the shit of them with a fine-tooth comb and get real panel experts in there. Not just protectionists, not just people that think, oh, it's colder outside, so we're all going to die. I mean, people that have actually studied the science, people that have studied proper ecology. Here's an example, like Dr. Patrick Moore. There's one of the founders of Greenpeace, who actually has a proper background in environmental sciences, not just a minor in university. This guy studied it. He studied tides. He studied how things grow. So he knows this shit. There's an idea. When it comes to electing leaders for our military, civilian leaders, that is, people that have a proper background in understanding world affairs, who understand procurement properly, and who want to outfit our military and our troops with the proper equipment, so we're not always reliant on our allies to carry our men and our kit to further destinations, right? And actually hiring and electing politicians that can be accountable for their actions. We're not going to sweep shit under the rug, like the WE scandal or SNC Lavalin, or firing somebody because of a different opinion, or letting someone go because they don't agree with your status fucking quo. I think you get my point, ladies and gentlemen. So at least politicians that are projecting not to have an election, we all know it's for one thing: to keep your job. It has nothing to do with who you represent. It has nothing to do with what you believe in. You just want to keep your fucking job. And it's that simple. We're tired of your lackluster performance. We're tired of your lies. We're tired of your race baiting. We're tired of your dog fucking. And as the French say, la croisseur, right? We're tired of it. We're getting really, really sick of it. I know a lot of my veterans, brothers and sisters, are tired of it too, but they're in positions in their jobs, and they're in situations in their jobs where they cannot speak out against the status quo. And there's a lot of Canadians that work for bigger companies and other companies that are not allowed to speak up too, because they're afraid that their opinions might get them canned. Right? I've been in that position twice so far since I left the service. Okay. Someone didn't like what I had to say about this. Oh, I don't like what you have to say because my safety is compromised. Oh, how dare you? That was the first situation. Second one, I was released because someone didn't like my opinion towards masks. Yet they never told me when I said it to them or who I said it to. And I was also accused of being a sexist. Wow. Really? What did I say that was terrible? But there was no proof of that. It was just speculation. That's where we're coming to. All these little companies and all these little government offices are pushing these mandates again. Oh, don't say this. Don't say that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Walk the line or else. Well, maybe it's about time that we start standing up and saying, you better walk our fucking line or else.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, please consider joining me on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin too. And if you do like and hear what you see, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to click that little notification bell there too on the YouTube. That's if I've not been shadow banned. I've had some subscribers say, hey, I can't see your video, or I tried to see your video and I couldn't find it. And I found it this day and I found it that day. So you, my listeners and viewers alike, whether you're on my Podbean account or you subscribe to me on Rumble or Wimkin, Please click like and share this all over your social media platforms too. And news, some good news. Next Tuesday, I'm trying to arrange a live stream between myself and other members of the Veterans Coalition Party, ladies and gentlemen. So please mark that in your calendars too. I'm trying to arrange a live stream where we're going to have a sit and a good discussion on Veterans Coalition Party values and mandates and platforms. So if they do call an election, it'll give you an idea, my viewers and listeners out there, that there is another party you can choose from too. If you're getting tired of the conservative mantra, and of course, we're all getting tired of the liberal mantra and the NDP mantra and the PPC mantra, please check out the Veterans Coalition Party. And there'll be links in my description. You can check out and decide for yourselves. But hopefully next Tuesday, a week from today, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, there's going to be about 4 or 5 of us who are sick and have a panel discussion, kind of like Fastball Sunday, but it's just going to be a talk between all potential candidates that want to run in federal politics and what we stand for and what we believe in when it comes to the good of the Canadian people. So please, if you can, tune into that, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be next Tuesday. It'll be live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch as well. We'll have a little talk. I'll be calling Crusty Canuck Presents Meet Your VCP. So keep that in mind and put that in your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. And there'll be updates throughout the week on the status of that well. So next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we're going to have a little talk about Veterans Coalition Party and what we stand for and what we believe in. And we hope if they do call an election, we get some votes. Anyway, before I end this show for today, this has just been my rant on what I've seen and heard the past week and how frustrating it can be. I got friends of mine in Ontario who are going through a hell of a time right now with their savings, trying to get things back in order again. And it's good to see that here in Alberta, liberty is starting to thrive yet again. But we need this for the rest of the country as well, too. And I'm going to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you want to get vaccines, get vaccines. If you don't want to get vaccines, that's up to you. I'm not going to force you to put anything in your body you don't want to. I'm not. That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide. Okay? That's for you, the individual. You, the taxpayer, you, the worker, you, the doctor, lawyer, whatever your position is, whatever identity you have, that's for you to decide. But when it comes to our personal safety, that's for us to decide, right? That's for us to decide. And if they keep pushing these mandatory vaccines and mandatory COVID passports and papers, they're no better than the shitheads back in the 1930s that we're all familiar with, right? And I don't care how you dress it up, whether it's for safety or it's for keeping this, helping this person out. We all know it's bullshit. Let's just hope we get to choose wisely. And let's just hope in the next couple of months that we start picking people that are going to represent and work for the people as they should. Like I say, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do with your bodies. That's your choice. But think carefully, right? Because there's speculations out there, even after 2 shots, the 2 mandatory shots they talk about, people are still getting sick. Right? Like Reba McEntire, country and western singer. Apparently she had 2 jabs and now she has COVID. Ironic, eh? How does that work? Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 10th of August, 2021. Thank you once again to New York Nadia for coming out to Fastball Sunday. It was an honor and a pleasure, and hope you enjoy your t-shirts. And like I say, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe to everything that you see at the bottom of your screen there. You can find me on Rumble, Brighteon, and Wimkin. And I'm working on other social media platforms as well, too. Please check out my shop at Customized Girl. There will be a link at the bottom in the description for you all to enjoy. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Don't hesitate. I try to be an open book, try to be fair and reasonable, but the moment you start writing me insults, I just kind of lose interest and I don't bother. So keep that in mind, right? And hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll have another episode up, but this is me for the meantime. So I want to say thank you to everyone who came out again on the Fastball. Thank you for the positive feedback and the comments and the warmth. Thank you once again. And thank you to the panel. And I want to thank you again, my listeners and viewers out there too, for helping me along this journey. Like I say, keep subscribing, keep sharing all around. And don't forget to comment here and there too. Help the algorithm going along there as well. Like I say, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 10th of August, 2021. Do what you can to help your neighbors and friends out the best of your ability. And just try to be decent to each other as best as we can. You know, like I said, I'm starting a new job in the next few hours. So hopefully that'll work out. Put some more food on the table, keep the lights on. But in the meantime, keep clicking like, subscribe, and donate if you can too. And look after your friends and loved ones. And remember, humanity merit wins the day. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.